The phone rings late at night. On the other end is a voice you know immediately. Your daughter, your son, your partner. They sound frightened, breathless, and desperate. There has been an accident, or an arrest, or a hospital bill that must be paid right now. They beg you not to call anyone else. There is only one problem. The person whose voice you are hearing never made that call. This is no longer a hypothetical crime from a science fiction story. Artificial intelligence can now help criminals imitate a familiar voice from a short recording found online. A birthday video, a podcast appearance, a voice message, or a public social media clip may contain enough material to begin building the illusion. And the technology is only one part of the attack. The real weapon is pressure. In 2025, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center received more than 22,000 complaints containing AI-related information. Adjusted losses exceeded $893 million. The report also describes distress scams in which cloned voices imitate relatives or close friends during invented emergencies. The scam works because the first few seconds do not feel like a security test. They feel like a family crisis. Imagine hearing someone you love say your name. The voice is shaking. There is noise in the background. The caller knows where your relative works, the name of a friend, or the city they recently visited. Then another person takes the phone, perhaps a police officer, a lawyer, a doctor, or a kidnapper, and explains exactly how you must pay. Every detail is designed to prevent reflection. The demand is urgent. The situation is secret. The payment method is difficult to reverse. The caller may ask for cryptocurrency, a wire transfer, cash, a payment application, or gift card numbers. They may warn that calling anyone else will make the situation worse. Those are not random choices. They isolate the victim, compress time, and turn love into a deadline. Voice cloning begins with source material. A criminal may collect public recordings from social media, live streams, interviews, or videos shared by relatives. Personal information from data breaches and public profiles can add names, locations, relationships, and recent events. Caller identification can also be spoofed, making the number on the screen appear familiar or legitimate. The result does not need to survive a careful forensic examination. It only needs to sound convincing for long enough to trigger panic. That distinction matters. People often imagine they will detect a synthetic voice by listening for robotic pronunciation, strange pauses, or emotional mistakes. Those clues may exist, but relying on them is dangerous. A poor connection, crying, background noise, and urgency can hide imperfections. Meanwhile, a real human scammer may speak between short cloned phrases, guiding the conversation away from anything the imitation cannot answer. The safest response is not to become an expert at identifying artificial audio. It is to change the verification process. First, stop the conversation. Do not follow instructions simply because the voice sounds familiar. Second, call the person back using a telephone number you already know. Do not use a number provided during the suspicious call or message. If they do not answer, contact another trusted relative, friend, employer, or institution through an independently verified channel. Third, ask a question whose answer is not available on social media. Families can also agree on a private verification phrase. It should not be a birthday, pet name, address, school, or any fact that appears in public records or old posts. Fourth, treat secrecy and unusual payment methods as alarms. A legitimate hospital, court, police department, or family member will not require gift card codes or demand that you hide an emergency from everyone you trust. Finally, preserve evidence. Save the phone number, messages, payment instructions, account details, and approximate time of contact. If money has already been sent, contact the bank, card issuer, payment service, or cryptocurrency platform immediately. Speed may determine whether a transfer can be stopped. The FBI has warned that criminals increasingly use AI-powered voice and video cloning to impersonate relatives, co-workers, and business partners. The Federal Trade Commission gives similar advice. Do not trust the voice alone, and verify the story using contact information you already know to be genuine. Businesses face a parallel version of the same attack. An employee receives an urgent call from an executive. The voice requests a confidential wire transfer, changes payment details for a supplier, or asks for credentials. The employee recognizes the voice and fears delaying an important transaction. But the request was built from public interviews, earnings calls, webinars, or internal information exposed elsewhere. The defense is procedural. High-risk payments should require independent confirmation and more than one authorized person. A voice, a video call, or a familiar writing style is not sufficient evidence of identity. There is also a deeper lesson here. For most of modern history, the human voice functioned like an informal signature. We learned to trust tone, rhythm, accent, and emotion. Synthetic media weakens that shortcut. A familiar voice can still be real, but familiarity can no longer be the entire proof. This does not mean deleting every family video or becoming afraid of every phone call. It means reducing unnecessary public exposure and building a verification habit before an emergency occurs. Review which recordings are public. Limit personal details that reveal relationships and routines. Strengthen important accounts with multi-factor authentication. Agree on a family callback plan and a private phrase while everyone is calm. Because once the frightening call begins, the criminal wants emotion to make every decision. The most powerful action may be the simplest one. Hang up, breathe, and verify. If the voice was real, verification costs a minute. If it was fake, that minute may protect a lifetime of savings. For a practical checklist covering impersonation scams, account protection, and recovery steps, the protection guide is linked in the description. Use it before a crisis and share the verification plan with the people you care about. This is System Beneath, where we examine the hidden systems shaping ordinary life. Subscribe for the next investigation.